Welcome to the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Insightful and witty commentary, probing interviews, and detours from the beaten path.
Welcome to Danny and Stan's Football Weekend, and to say we have a lot to digest and analyze is a gigantic understatement, to say the least, as we broadcast the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent commentary, our football version of it on Monday. Of course, it was a great day for the Chiefs yesterday. They had to battle. They had a pretty tough fight on their hands. And then at the end, not only did they get the win, did they get to celebrate and smile the win, they got to celebrate and smile because the word through the stadium was spreading just as the game was winding down that the impossible had occurred, and the Miami Dolphins had driven the field to beat the Patriots at the end and hand a bye in the number 2 seed to the Kansas City Chiefs and really make it seem extra viable that this Chiefs team could purge 50 years of not getting to a Super Bowl, and we'll see. It should stack up as a great playoff, but things are really lining up now for the Kansas City Chiefs, and who they will play and who you want to play. That seems a little bit more irrelevant, and it seems more and more likely that we'll see a showdown between the Chiefs and the Ravens. We'll talk about all that with Stan coming up, as well as college football with one great football game and one kind of embarrassment for the Big 12, but how much of an embarrassment? We'll deal with that, too. And, of course, Stan is in Memphis, Tennessee, for the Liberty Bowl as Kansas State and Navy go at it in a very evenly matched game. A Navy team that has risen to a new level. Always respected as a team that fought and runs the football and everything, but a little bit better version this time around. So that should be an interesting football game to break down as well. All kinds of good stuff for you straight ahead on Danny and Stan's Football Weekend on the Reasonably Irreverent podcast for this week. We're here with Joe Spiker, the president of Easton Roofing. And Joe, you worked for other companies in the construction industry. What inspired you to start your own company in Easton Roofing?
Well, you know, Danny, when you are working for somebody else, you oftentimes don't get to see the project through from beginning to end, and you don't get the final control over the customer experience. And I wanted to build a place where people can come and get work done on their house and not have to worry about being treated the wrong way and get a good customer service experience start to finish.
The company slogan is "Where Integrity Matters." Why is that so particularly important to you?
Well, for us, what that means is treating each other with respect at work, treating our clients with respect, and making the right choice, especially when no one's looking. So when you're presented all the time as a contractor with choices that have to be made, are you going to make more money on this if you cut a corner? And we just wanted to make a place and a slogan that said to our people and to whoever is our customer, we're not going to do that. We're going to make the right choice regardless of profit.
Easton Roofing, where integrity matters.
For many people, a family law case will be one of the most difficult experiences in their life. The law firm of Kenneth McRae will help you through it. Personal and effective help from Ken in concert with you will develop a unique strategy for your unique case. As Ken always says, divorce can be civil law, not civil war. Licensed in Kansas? Visit McRaeLawOffice.com or call 913-972-4765.
I was duped, and I recommend you be next. For better or worse, the ultra-realistic impression of me sits now in my wife's office to spook her on a daily basis. So what is Doob? D-O-O-B. It's the keepsake of a lifetime, a 3D-generated, incredibly lifelike figurine. 66 cameras take an image at exactly the same moment in any pose, and state-of-the-art 3D technology transforms that into exact replicas of you, anyone you know or love, a pet, whomever is close to your heart. Create lifetime memories with a Doob. Visit their Facebook page at Doob 3D Kansas City, or better yet, see their incredible creations. Visit their location down on the plaza in the heart of it at 231 West 47th Street in KC Mo. Doob, be next. Are you thinking of starting a new business? Does your current business feel stuck? Or are you just trying to grow what you already have? Running a business is a lot of work, and it takes the right team to make it all happen. If you're looking to grow your business, call my friends Ben and Greg over at Fuego Consulting. They put together a company that can help you reach your business goals. Whether you're looking to get online, build a social media strategy, or rebrand your business, they can help. Call Fuego at 816-663-9695 or visit them online at fuegoconsulting.com. Fuego Consulting. Let's grow your business together. If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at Danny@DannyKlinkScale.com. Look forward to hearing from you. Stan, certainly was an exciting weekend of football, gobs of it. I know you were wallowing in it and probably watching some of the games that other people would shrug off and go rake leaves or something else. But let's start with the professional football aspect of it, and a fun day at Arrowhead on multiple levels. It ended up being quite a fight with the San Diego Chargers, who basically have played pretty close games all day. And I think the Chargers showed some things that perhaps other teams can make a little bit of hay with. But in the end, the Chiefs made some really big plays on offense. Defense continued to be okay, but I guess I'm going to analyze both of those things with you because that's why we have you here. First of all, play-to-play, the Chiefs' offense wasn't particularly overwhelming yesterday. They popped some big ones when they really needed it. So overall, I think you give a pretty good grade to the Chiefs, but it was a 24-point day, so that's kind of average for them. On a play-to-play basis, they seem to be able to throttle Tyreek Hill a little bit, maybe confuse Patrick Mahomes a little bit. The Chiefs' offensive line certainly did not allow havoc to be created in the backfield, but maybe that was part of the design for the Chargers. Give me an idea, in your estimation, what you think the Chargers were doing that worked. Of course, the Chiefs ended up doing enough to make things that didn't work for the Chargers, but what were some of the things that make the Chiefs look like they were struggling a bit at times?
Well, the Chargers play very good defense, first of all. Their rush angles on Patrick Mahomes were very good. Their speed, getting off of blocks, didn't allow him to get to the outside too easily with free throws. So when he had to move, he didn't have great opportunities to throw the ball downfield. They tackled pretty well. So the Chargers just played a sound game. The Chiefs, you got different expectations for what we talk about the Kansas City Chiefs, and we need to really make this distinction all day long, Danny, because when we start splitting these hairs, we can talk about where the Chiefs have deficiencies compared to where their potential is, but we also need to turn around and look at it compared to the rest of the NFL,
right,
and where they are getting ready to make a run in the playoffs. They started the year, first of all, in a 30,000-foot range, Danny. We started the year, at least I did when I was talking to you on the podcast, saying that I thought the Chiefs had the second-best chance to win the Super Bowl this year. I thought it was the New England Patriots and then the Kansas City Chiefs. They've gone through a roller coaster ride. I think it's been very cleansing to have the defense needed to be counted on with Patrick Mahomes' injury. For some disappointment to come in there so that you value the regular season, you learn to fight and grind, and also to get the fans off of this expectation that this is easy. You don't need to be meeting these guys in restaurants and telling the Chiefs players that can't wait to see you in the Super Bowl. There's a regular season to play to value, and the way it all worked out, Danny, we are sitting here, and the Chiefs, I believe, have the second-best chance of winning the Super Bowl of any team in the NFL. I put the Ravens number one, Chiefs number two, but I like the mentality of where they are because they've had to fight. They had to play that last game and win, and it was a struggle. Guess what? That's what the NFL's like, and sure enough, they end up with the number 2 seed with the Miami Dolphins beating the Patriots. Didn't expect that to happen, but the Chiefs end up basically winning their first-round game, moving on to the second game, knowing they don't have to go to New England to play that next game. If the Patriots are able to win, it's going to be in Kansas City. So in a lot of ways, they're in a very good position and very ready to make this step. And all they have to do is win one home game, and I'm not trying to advance too far here, Danny, but if they're able to win one home game, then they really are back to replicating what Chiefs fans have talked about with the Royals. Remember, the Royals got mad after they lost the World Series in 2014 and said, let's get to work. We're going to rectify that and go out and win a World Series. Well, first of all, you got to get there. And that team played with a passion all year long to make that happen. This year's team, the Chiefs at the NFL, it's a lot harder. And they are now at the point where they're only one win away from being back there. And that's when I think mentally they're going to hit their stride, Danny. When they get back to saying, yes, we're going to rectify it, and we're going to do what the 14 Royals did to the 15 Royals, you could actually see that coming into play. But now back to your question. Where the Chiefs are, they're not quite as dominant on offense as they've been. The offensive line is struggling a little bit. The Chiefs' running game has some question marks. It's not that reliable. You got to take Tyreek Hill out of the game. Travis Kelce can't drop passes. I mean, he really helps the opponent when he drops a pass here or there. He's not a perfect player, even though he's the best tight end in the league, but he's got to be clean and really play a good game because everybody's going to try to take away Tyreek Hill. And so the Chiefs' offense, I thought, was more of a B performance. I think the Damian Williams situation is one of the most interesting, Danny, to evaluate. Okay, he's doing a nice job. He has an explosiveness about him. He ran the ball in the 4-minute situation pretty well to finish off the game for the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
You love having him back there. He's been injured. It's a position that's had injuries. So overall, you're glad to have him back there. But that touchdown run is a total farce, total fake,
right?
Fake football. I don't know the guy's name. Number 52 is a joke. The biggest embarrassment of all football played in the games that I saw on Sunday was the linebacker running down the line of scrimmage and stopping while Damian Williams was thought to be tackled. He stood there, didn't go clean up, didn't go look to see if he needed to make a tackle along the sideline. Danny, go watch the replay. He never gets blocked. He stops about 6 yards from the line of scrimmage, and then is surprised when Williams doesn't go down, and then tries to get back into play too late as a touchdown. That should have been a 3-yard run. It's simple. Simple, Danny. That's not a big run at all. It's a 3-yard run, so erase that play. Okay, you take away that play away from the Chiefs, and you look at the running game, and I still think that is an area when we talk about the Chiefs. Remember what we've been saying. If you listen to our podcasts, I've been saying over and over again, Danny, when I talk about things, I talk about the formula to beat the Chiefs, and the formula is not very large. Okay, the Chiefs are a very good football team, a likely team to get in there and win the Super Bowl. But if you're going to beat them, you can slow down their running game. So take away whatever that was. Is that the 89-yard touchdown run
right,
or whatever it was? That was a joke. So you had an interception on the first possession in the second half, or one of the first possessions. And then this run, who knows how that series would have went. So I just say, the offense for the Chiefs were kind of a B performance. The defense did just fine. The special teams had their explosive play with Mecole Hardman busting one out. That's good to see that part of the game back to the Chiefs. But overall, we're not talking about a perfect team hitting on all cylinders, especially with Thornhill's injury at safety. I just wonder, Danny, how that's going to turn out. That's one of my big question marks about where the Chiefs are going to be. But this is simple. Simple. Final conclusion. The Chiefs have the second-best chance of winning the Super Bowl of any team in the NFL, Danny. That's a pretty good position, and we're splitting a lot of hairs if we want to have much negativity about a team that is that legitimate.
Absolutely the case, and you're just looking for analysis. I think the Chiefs yesterday took a gigantic step, I think, just to see the graphic that showed that if you don't have a bye, you have a 27% chance of making the Super Bowl, and if you do have a bye, you have almost an 80% chance of making the Super Bowl. That says everything. The Chiefs have already beaten the Ravens, so on and so forth. Let's check on the defense a little bit, however, and then we'll talk about a couple other NFL issues. Actually, we saw, Phillip Rivers just throws the ball up for grabs sometimes, so that helps out. But we saw the area that the Chiefs are most vulnerable, well, two areas, be taken advantage of by the Chargers yesterday. They actually racked up quite a bit of yardage, left some points out there. They ran the ball effectively, and the little shovel passes game, not shovel passes per se, but the little checkdowns and everything against the Chiefs linebackers are just something that everybody's going to do, I think, now against the Chiefs. And I just couldn't believe how they seem to not know that Austin Eckler was pretty good in that game. Either that or they're just not physically capable of checking him. So those two areas, which we know are weaknesses, and maybe were masked over the last couple of weeks because teams got way behind and they really couldn't play that type of game. That's the biggest vulnerability for this defense still, isn't it?
Probably so. I think the secondary is doing a very good job of covering.
Mm-hmm.
Again, what difference will it make with Thornhill not back there, if he's not back there? I don't know if you've heard anything, Danny, but I have no reports yet about, it's an ACL and he's out for the year. I just don't know what the situation is. But he allows Tyrann Mathieu to play so much closer to the line of scrimmage.
Right.
And when that happens, he is always lurking. And when you're able to lurk, that means be close to the line of scrimmage, but don't necessarily have to go forward. And Tyrann Mathieu is causing a lot of offensive problems, Danny, because he can line up 6 or 7 yards off the ball, shuffle forward, and be coming like you can't believe off the edge on a blitz, or just plant, reverse, and be back playing cover two on a deep hash. He has that ability. He knows where he's going. like Troy Polamalu did for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He doesn't miss his assignments, but he can disguise them so well, and he's such a risk to come a lot of different directions that the defenses really don't know until a snap of the football where he's going to be, and oftentimes they can't see him then. It's too late. The quarterback has way too much to evaluate to just watch one player. But Thornhill is like a old-fashioned athletic free safety. You know, Johnny Robinson made it to the Hall of Fame for the Chiefs, right? Remember back in the old days, he didn't have the kind of speed that the athletes have now, but he could clean up anything, sideline to sideline, run it down, knock the ball down, tackle them if they do make a catch. That is going to be a big differential. Is Tyrann Mathieu going to have to play more straight coverage and get back there because the secondary, the other safety is not as good? That could change the dynamics. But right now, throwing the ball short underneath is something that you can get done. Phillip Rivers threw the ball down there, but Eckler didn't hurt them that much, Danny. You know, the New England Patriots, for instance, are going to need to do that to win, so there's a little question mark because the Patriots are likely to be the next Chiefs opponent, and they're having so much trouble moving the football. What are they going to try to do? They're going to try to get the ball to the running back on the run against the Chiefs linebackers. So it's worth noting that that is an issue, but there's been a lot less missed tackles. And that's the thing. In the last few years, the Chiefs' defense has been bad. And there's a lot of things that they can talk about scheme-wise, but I just thought their tackling was really bad. And they wouldn't make a tackle at the point. And yesterday was one that Hitchens missed that was bad, right? He stepped out of that ankle tackle and allowed the Chargers running back to get further, maybe even into the end zone. But really, the Chiefs haven't missed a lot of tackles. So even though the linebackers can be thrown against Danny, I think they're making tackles enough to keeping things short.
Right.
The Chiefs' defense is solid, but Tyrann Mathieu is adding an aspect of variability, and it scares the opponent. Like, where's he going to come? And then you got Suggs. We talked about this last week. What a great pickup he is to rotate these guys through and come in with a guy off the bench like that, who's a Hall of Famer, basically, who knows how to play. The Chiefs have a lot of aspects that really could play out well. Now, are they a perfect, dominant football team? No, they're not. But you don't have to do that nowadays to win a Super Bowl. You just don't. And so I think they're in really good shape. But that big question, I think, is Thornhill, Danny. It can change a lot of things. It's like a domino. When it starts to fall, you know, what is Fuller going to do? What do you want Fuller to do? You want him to cover the slot, right?
Yep.
You want him to be down there. Even if he's playing safety, he's really in the box playing close by. That's when you have his strength. Let the corners play the corner. Let Tyrann Mathieu run around and do anything he wants to. Be able to keep Reggie Wagner in the game because he brings some big-time shoulder pad hits to help out Wilson and Hitchens. And they really got a good group. But the Thornhill question might change some of those dynamics, Danny. That's the thing I'm going to be watching.
Well, yesterday's developments certainly made the road considerably easier for the Chiefs, and the Patriots somehow lost the game yesterday. I mean, when they scored the touchdown and you know, Miami was going to need a touchdown, I'm like, okay, well, they finally are going to limp their way in. They didn't. They lost. I was reading some of the Boston papers today, and they were torching the Patriots' performance yesterday, and I didn't see much of the game except for highlights, and especially Brady's performance. Apparently he's got an elbow injury. You know, the Patriots have the pedigree, but they're certainly not playing good football. Which team poses the bigger threat?
They're going to play three or four teams, okay, are available to them. But they're either going to play New England, period. If New England wins, they play New England. If New England loses, they play the winner of the other game.
Right.
Okay? The Buffalo Bills and the Houston Texans, they'll play them at home. Here's the good news, I think, for the Chiefs. Small, but I'm looking – everything matters right now, Danny. They are going to play both AFC games on Saturday, and this rarely happens. It's usually an AFC and an NFC game, and then the same thing the next day on Sunday. Both of them are going to play, so by the end of the day on Saturday, the Chiefs guaranteed, no matter how it plays out, will know who their opponent is. So they can start game planning, and Andy Reid getting every day that he can. They get all the way through the next Sunday to game plan. That'll be good on the game plan side. From the rest side, the opponent does get 8 days. You know, you'd rather they get 6, but you do get 8 days. They will get 8 days, so they'll be completely rested coming in here. But the Patriots are on fumes. There's just no doubt about it. You know, the best wide receiver is hurt. He's just struggling out there, so he can't separate from anybody. The other receivers are just dropping passes right and left. You can bag on Brady, Danny, and I know his arm's sore and he's not perfect and he's getting older, yes, but I still see him delivering a lot of accurate balls and away from the defender, back short when it needs to be, low and away when it needs to be. His guys are just dropping balls left and right. They just have no one they can rely on right now except for Edelman. And Edelman's being double covered, and he'll throw to Edelman in double coverage sometimes on third down. So, make a long story short, the team that is the least threatening to the Chiefs in the AFC is the Patriots. Wow. That shows you how good the NFL is right there, Danny. How good is the NFL when we are saying with a straight face that the Chiefs may be better off playing the Patriots than other teams?
A team
and
that,
if you know
for
it's
all
going
their
to be a battle.
Right, for all their warts, they did win 12 games this year. So and only the tiebreaker is the reason that the Patriots would be that the Chiefs are that seed. So setting it all up perfectly is what you do, Stan. So that absolutely is the case. And what are your percentage chances, do you think, that it's Ravens-Chiefs? Pretty high?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think, the good thing about the NFL is I don't think the Ravens just have a free pass either. If the Titans win, then they're hot right now.
Right.
And they have a running game they can control. They have a quarterback who's, I don't know if he continue it on for the rest of his career, but right now Tannehill's playing at a high level. So if the Titans win, they head straight to the Ravens. My point is, the Ravens have 75% chance of winning, not 100%. So, there's an outside chance the Chiefs could play a home game in the AFC Championship game. But I do think most likely, as things look here in the AFC, Danny, I think there are less question marks in the AFC. I don't think the Patriots have enough to cause a lot of havoc. So more than likely, I think we're going to be looking at Chiefs at the Ravens, the two best teams in the NFL, playing for an AFC Championship game. And on the NFC, I told you last week that there are a ton of teams that might make it into the Super Bowl. And I still believe that. I think Minnesota probably has too far to go. They're only 4-4 on the road. They haven't been a good road team. I just don't expect them to work their way through 3 games. The Seahawks are starting to play a little bit more poorly. I don't think they now can go ahead and win 3 games, even though they're better on the road than they're at home. Very interesting fact. Do you realize the New Orleans Saints have been better on the road record-wise than they've been at home, Danny? So I think the Saints are the best team in the NFC. Even though they're the number 3 seed, they're 13-3. A coach has been to the Super Bowl. Quarterback has been to the Super Bowl. Dynamic running back, wide receiver, defense that's pretty good. It's going to be hard for them, but I think the biggest fake of the NFC teams that are thought to be big time are the Green Bay Packers. And we saw that they're just Aaron Rodgers reliant. He came to Kansas City and won that game. So Aaron Rodgers can win a game anytime, anywhere in a one-game situation. But the Green Bay Packers are at home. I don't think they're a dominant team. So I would more than likely expect the New Orleans Saints or the 49ers to make it to the Super Bowl. My most likely would be the Saints. So Ravens and Chiefs versus the Saints and Niners is probably where we'll end up. And it's going to be, there's big chances here for all of those teams. But the 2 best teams are the Ravens and the Chiefs. I expect them to play in the AFC Championship game.
That's Dan Weber. He is in Memphis, Tennessee for the Liberty Bowl, and we're going to talk college football coming up next, the playoffs, Kansas State, and their big game against Navy as well. College football comes your way next on Danny and Stan's Football Weekend on the Reasonably Irreverent Podcast.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent Podcast after this.
Cinematic Visions has been an affordable solution for professional media production in Kansas City since 2003, offering award-winning video production and creation, as well as a wide array of digital and social media management services. From planning, scripting, filming, editing, and post-production, to delivering your product to a watching world, Cinematic Visions will provide professional and affordable services for you and your business with the necessary return on investment to make it all worthwhile. Cinematic Vision's goal is to unlock the power of storytelling through video and a strong online presence for your company. Beyond the numbers, they want to inspire and evoke your clients to feel and act. Let my friends at Cinematic Visions embed your brand where it belongs, in your customers' minds. You can find them online at cinematicvisions.com or with a quick phone call at 816-600-6300. Looking for a truly unique escape from your normal entertainment or corporate team building regimen? Stay tuned for an exclusive offer only for Reasonably Irreverent listeners. I'm excited to tell you about an extraordinary destination, the Exit Room, located in the heart of beautiful downtown Lee Summit. The Exit Room is a distinctive entertainment option that offers a cool alternative to the normal couples night out, family get-togethers, and corporate team building events. The Exit Room is a one-of-a-kind boutique escape room catering to special occasions and corporate team-building events and is unmatched in the Kansas City metro. With 5 individually designed and varied escape room adventures, your party or employees can unplug from their electronic world, interact with one another, match wits, and ultimately escape the humdrum of the ordinary. The Exit Room adventures cross decades and centuries and create fascinating fun. I know the owners well. They are local folks, their staff is warm and friendly, their lobby is inviting and beautiful, and their adventures are award-winning. Check online. There are over 1,000 reviews and note that they are a rare 5-star ranked business. Visit their website and Facebook page, and any of my listeners who books online at theexitroomkc.com using the promo code Clinkscale19 gets 10% off any ticket purchase. The Exit Room in Lee Summit. Unplug, interact, and escape. Sumner One is the company to make your office maximize efficiency. Their family of companies make up one of the largest independent dealers of office technology in the Midwest. They are proud to bring the best service and technology to top companies across the region. Sumner One can help your organization run more smoothly than ever. Sumner One printers, copiers, MFPs, managed print services, document management, infrastructure design, IT services, disaster recovery, and business continuity. Welcome to the one place where everything works. For more information, call Carl Little at 913-752-2256.
There's no need to get a case of the Mondays every week, not during football season anyway. Hey, this is Matt Llewellyn from the 23rd Street Brewery, and we are the place for Monday Night Football. Food and drink specials every week, and all new televisions always at 23rd Street Brewery. The hardest thing about Mondays now will be getting through the workday, although waking up on Tuesdays might be a little bit tough. But remember, watch all the Chiefs games, NFL games, every game at the 23rd Street Brewery.
If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at danny@dannyclinkscale.com. Look forward to hearing from you.
College football, the playoffs, and Stan, I guess we'll start off with, first of all, there was one great game and one not-so-great game, and that not-so-great game, again, involved the champion of the Big 12. And I think people probably are going to hyper-analyze it a little bit in a Big 12 context. What it is really is that you end up with 4 football teams. Doesn't matter what conference they come from. But what we have found out so far in the playoffs is that the championship team of the Big 12 has not been competitive in a playoff setting against their opponents. And Oklahoma, you said it all year, they were not a dominant team. The Big 12 was very balanced, and so maybe we shouldn't be that surprised. But still, to have your champion go out and just get worked time after time, it just isn't a good look for the Big 12.
No, it isn't. And, Big 12 right now is halfway through playing bowl games, and they're 0-3. So this has not been the year where the Big 12's had elite-level teams. So only 3 teams are left. K-State in the Liberty Bowl. Then you got the Alamo Bowl where Utah, big-time team, is going to be playing Texas. And then you got Baylor, who's in the Sugar Bowl. All 3 are underdogs. All 6 teams in the Big 12 are underdogs to start with, and they're 0-3 to right now. So I think it's a year where the Big 12 is very competitive, but I don't think they're playing at the highest level with the top teams. And this Oklahoma version is definitely one of the worst Oklahoma teams as you look at their finish of the season. They were on high-level upset alert for a long time. Remember the Iowa State 2-point conversion in Norman? Could have lost that game. Danny, they could have lost to TCU at home. They could have lost to Baylor 2 times, including a championship game where it went to overtime. So this Oklahoma team is not representative of what the Big 12 has done over 5 years or so. So this year, you've got to be a little careful to jump on them and be too upset and too negative, because this year's version was not that strong. I don't think, though, they're any different than the Oregons of the world, the Utahs of the world. I don't think they would have represented themselves any better. Okay. It just happens to be that we got 3 elite teams this year, and we don't have a 4th. We had the same thing last year. Remember Notre Dame? was in there, and everyone wondered, should they be? No, they shouldn't have been. So it looks like, as crazy as it seems, we are ending up with 3 good teams rather than 4 or 5 when we talk about the playoff, because everyone talks about how many there should be, and I'll be on my soapbox every day, Danny. It's not just because of Big 12 teams. I'll stick up for Oregon. They deserve to be in this playoff. They should have had a chance. They won their conference. I'm upset that they don't get the chance. It's unfair, all those kind of things. But we are looking at the reality of, it seems like we're more likely to have 3 top-level teams than 4 if we look at the last couple of years in the college football playoff.
The other game was a great one, and it's just 2 really good football teams playing a fine football game. Wasn't fancy football from what we've often seen, and people expected all the kinds of points total we had in the first game to be in the second game. Just good, hard-nosed football game won by one good team over another good team.
Yeah, I don't think either team had been really tested throughout the year, and I thought that both of them took a little while to respond to the negativity. Clemson got punched in the mouth by Ohio State, and they had not played anybody any good all year long. They had that one close game against North Carolina, who's basically a 6-6 team going into the bowl season, and other than that, they pounded on everyone. So I thought when Ohio State shot Clemson that they didn't respond very well. But once they settled in and said, okay, we can play at a high level, I think they shocked Ohio State back. So it was a little bit like a Rocky fight where one guy punches him in the mouth completely across the other side of the ring, and it happens again. And then they settled in. And when they settled in and we got to the fourth quarter, and I thought that they both got used to playing against high-level teams, it was very, very good. I went in the game saying that Trevor Lawrence was the big key to me. I don't think he's played at the highest level. Being a sophomore and everyone patting you on the back and acting like it's easy after his freshman year and what he did that last half of the season, and winning a national championship game, never having lost a college game, all of that. It's hard psychologically, Danny, when everyone's patting you on the back. I've not had it at his level, but I still had the psychology of, I played the last half of my junior year and then was on magazine covers and all that stuff, and everyone said it was easy or great. And I'm telling you, it's not a good way to get ready for the next season. And I wondered, how will Trevor Lawrence play? And I was surprised as heck. Not only did he play well, I'm not surprised by that fact, Danny, it's that he ran the football. I thought Colin Klein was out there for a while in the quarterback run game, and letting this guy hit and run was amazing, but they stuck with it. He responded. And the one thing I would not consider him to be is a real running threat. I think of him as a passing quarterback, maybe NFL type, angular and good accuracy. Heck, he ran like he was a Bill Snyder K-State quarterback that won the game. How about that long run that he had? It was just such a giant play. So my big question mark was for Clemson, how would Trevor Lawrence play? I thought that would define who the winner would be in the game, and he defined it positively in a way that I didn't expect, but that was a big-time step for him. And I think he's starting to settle in, hasn't thrown an interception in 4 or 5 games, getting better. So now I think we're going to see the real Clemson. After that, playing at a high-level game, now you got championship-level mentality against an LSU squad that is very, very talented, very confident, and a quarterback that's playing off the charts. The accuracy with which he threw, Joe Burrow winning a Heisman and then coming out and putting an exclamation point on it and saying, my Heisman season wasn't even as good as you saw today against Oklahoma, is crazy. So, big time matchup here. I think LSU's the better team, but because Clemson's been there before, understands what you need to do to be a champion, it evens the game right back out for me.
So you're looking at this as a coin flip game?
I am, because I think Clemson just knows how to win, and they really showed that. They got bombed by Ohio State and were in complete shock, and they had held them to field goals was the only reason why it wasn't 31-0. It was 16-0. It took a lot of guts to come back, and I think the pro players are used to being pros, but the college players really aren't used to what it takes to be in a situation where the press conferences and just the whole idea of bowl games, winning it and moving on to a championship game. It's unusual for college players to keep their heads straight, and I don't think Clemson will have any problem with it. They're going to be ready to roll, so I do think it'll be an even game.
Let's talk about the game down in Memphis. And first of all, you're there. Do you have a sense of where the K-State nation is as far as the amount of people who are there, the excitement level of it? There obviously was disappointment that they didn't get a more high-level bowl game, but then if you looked at the positives of New Year's Eve and Beale Street and playing the Naval Academy, and a lot of people will be watching just because there's a lot of people who were in the Navy and want to watch their team, and so there's a pretty high-profile aspect to it there. What's just the excitement level in Memphis?
Well, it's picking up, Danny. Having a December 31st game, it really sequences out well. Gets a little ways away from Christmas so that people don't have to choose between their Christmas celebrations on December 25th and traveling to a bowl game. If they would have went to Orlando on the 27th, it would have been hard for K-State fans to get there. This gives K-State fans an opportunity they can drive, and I think the enthusiasm level is picking up. The more you get a chance to study Navy and understand what kind of team it is, this is not a bowl game where you come and say, well, K-State has a little to gain, but everything to lose. You know, gosh, you don't want to lose to an American Athletic Conference team, and no one's going to respect you if you lose to Navy, and boy, Navy's hard to play and all of that. Well, that's just not the way it is this time, Danny. That's not what Navy football is this year. They have one of the greatest players in the history of Navy football, and heck, I'm the biggest Roger Staubach guy in the world. No one's ever going to tell me there's anybody better than Roger Staubach, so I'm not going there. But Malcolm Perry, their quarterback, has just done incredible things, and he's a humble kid who, in 20 different games, he's run for 100 yards. 5 times he's run for 200 yards. He has the most all-purpose yards in Navy history, the first guy to ever run for 1,000 yards in 3 straight seasons. That's the offensive story. They have an explosive player. It's not just a cute little offense, Danny, that's going to wear you down and use the clock, and all those things can still be true. You know, go watch the Air Force bowl game, okay? Did you see Air Force beat Washington State? They did it the way that Navy and Army and Air Force do. They frustrate you, keep the football, all that. That's nice. It's legitimate. It's hard to beat. But this is a whole nother level. Malcolm Perry is big time. The offense is setting all kinds of records. They're the best rushing team in the country, yet they can pass the football, etc. But Dan, let's don't stick there. It's too easy. It's too easy to talk about that cute little offense. What Navy's good at is defense. Their defense is now with a new defensive coordinator, Brian Newberry. They are coming with a blitzing philosophy. Their nose guard would be first team All Big 12. Jackson Pittman weighs 300 pounds. He was highly recruited. They have a linebacker, a 240-pound linebacker that, hearing Ken Niumatalolo, the head coach, the guy's been around 22 years at Navy, 12 years as the head coach, he said, we don't get kids that weigh 240 pounds to come to the Navy. He was recruited by 20 big-time schools, and Navy got him. So right down the middle, they're very strong. Their safeties are good players. They got a guy who looks like a pro, and Nizer Cromartie at a defensive end position. And then someone that should be mentioned because we're in Kansas City, right? Park Hill South, number 1, Danny. Look for number 1 in the game, Jacob Springer. He's from Park Hill South. He's a junior, and he is kind of the Tyrann Mathieu of the team. He will blitz and come from everywhere, make plays. They really try to keep you off balance with their defense, and they're very good on defense. So that's the story. This is not, a Navy cute little football team. They're the 21st ranked team in the country. They've only lost twice this year. In one game close to Memphis, who's the best non-Power 5 school in the country, right? They lost a close game to Memphis on the road, and they lost to Notre Dame. That's it. They've been very good, and on defense, they've held teams. Only one opponent has rushed for greater than 150 yards against Navy this whole year. They played Army. They played Air Force, teams that run the ball every down. They played a pretty good schedule, and only one team got 150 yards rushing against them all year, Tulane with 187. You know, K-State would like to run the ball, control the football, and all those things. This 21st ranked team in the country, Danny, I think is getting people excited because they're realizing this is a big opportunity. If K-State wins, it'll be only the 4th time in history that K-State's beat a ranked team in a bowl game. It'll tie for the 2nd highest ranked team that K-State's ever won against in a bowl game. And the last time that they won a bowl game against a ranked team was 2000 against 21st ranked Tennessee. let's watch the tape, Danny. Let's don't think about other things. I'm just telling you, I will do, just straight out, this Navy team is good. If K-State wins, they have everything to gain and really nothing to lose. This is an even game. They should never be embarrassed if they walk off the field losing to this Navy team. And if they win, with the way this team has explosiveness, discipline, all the things that you'd expect from Naval Academy student athletes, this is going to be a big opportunity for K-State. I think the K-State fans are getting around to that. I think they're starting to understand this is not a everything-to-lose game. It's a big-time opportunity for K-State to play a team that wants to play the exact same style as them. How would you like to win a game where you control the line of scrimmage, you're more disciplined, you're more physical, you have greater determination than guys who are at the Naval Academy? How would you like to have that for the rest of your life, Danny? K-State football players have a chance to say that. If they can win this game, they can walk off the field for the rest of their life and say everything that takes from that internal mechanism, that's the insides of what you are as a human being, that's what's going to be put at test against Navy. K-State and Navy want to do the same exact thing. And if you beat them at that game, how can you not feel great about yourself as a human being?
And also, K-State, because of a couple of teams down in that area and the fact that Navy is ranked, it would seem quite likely that K-State would be a ranked team at the end of the year, and that's always something you like.
Very well said, Kenny. That's right. There's been enough teams that have lost who are right on the edge. We're barely ranked in the top 25. And plus, if you beat Navy head-to-head, I do think K-State, if they win the game, will be ranked in the final rankings, and it'll be the first time since 2014 that K-State finished as a ranked team. So that's to be a pretty good feather in the cap for Coach Kleiman. I mean, just think about that. First year, picked ninth going into the season by the Big 12 coaches, following a legend like Bill Snyder, and taking over a team that Bill Snyder did not get to a bowl game last year and have a chance to finish as a ranked team. That'd be pretty cool. But there's a lot of work to be done. It's going to be a physical battle, Danny, and much more even a mental battle. Who's the toughest mentally is going to be very, very strong. Both teams are just going to say, no mistakes, no mistakes, no mistakes, and those are the hardest teams to beat.
Stan Weber will be on the call down in Memphis. What's the weather looking like for the game?
Well, for the Liberty Bowl, Danny, it can be from snow to pretty nice, and this would be on the upper positive side. It's sunny. A cold front has come through. It's been really nice and high 50s to 60s. I think we're going to maybe hit 50 degrees, but it'll be completely sunny. It's a 2:45 kick. So I generally think for most Liberty Bowls, this would be better than normal.
Good deal.
Wear a little bit of dark clothing. The sun will hit you and warm you up, and I think fans are going to be able to enjoy the game and not freeze to death. It's going to look good on TV. I know that. A beautiful sunny day, probably in the high 40s is expected.
All right, Stan, giving you but putting his Gary Lezak hat on, too. Stan, enjoy the call, and we always appreciate it. And another great edition of Danny and Stan's Football Weekend. Stan, all the best. Happy New Year.
Okay, thanks, Danny.
This podcast was made possible by our great sponsors like Easton Roofing, the presenting sponsor of Kansas City Profiles at the Danny Klingscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Easton Roofing, where integrity matters. We hope you enjoyed the latest Danny Klingscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Come back soon for something fresh and new.